come to some sort of an understanding about the cause of the problem. Then we just discuss about the solution to be taken. We implement the solution, and then maybe after maybe a week or 10 days, maybe the problem seems to disappear. So we are very happy that we have solved the problem once for all. But again, after 2 months or 3 months, again the same problem may come and hurt us because we have not analyzed the root cause of the problem. So the process approach says you control the inputs, control the process conditions, the output will always be consistent. So it's a very important point. You just note it down. The process approach says you control the inputs, control the process conditions, the output will always be consistent. So this is what the coach was trying to do with all his players who was testing. With all the other players, he found that either their inputs were not right or their process conditions were not right. But with Messi, he found that his inputs were right and his process conditions were right. And he was 200% confident that Messi will hit the target, and he gave approval for taking the penalty kick, right? So the basic principle of the process approach says control the whenever you are wanting to solve a problem related to the output, like a problem in productivity or quality or yield or uh, breakdown time or so on. So don't bother too much about the output. Try to analyze what is the problem in the inputs, what is the problem in the process conditions, and then you take some corrective action. Then automatically the output will be consistent. So that is what is the process approach, which is the basic principle of Six Sigma. So any process problem can be solved by solving the problems in the inputs and process condition. Okay. So whenever you want to learn about Six Sigma, one of the other important concepts what you need to understand is about variability. So what is variation? So variation is simply a deviation from expectation. So for example, you assume that you do a very simple manufacturing process. You take a 11 millimeter rod and you grind it to 10 millimeter rod, right? So now you have set the machine and you have started grinding the rods, and then you randomly pick up some 50 pieces and you just check the outer dimension. So do you think that you will get exactly 10.00 for all the 50 samples whatever you are taking? So it is not going to happen, right? Always there will be some variation. So you may get like 9.94, 10.06, 9.97, 10.02. So like that, some variations will always be there. Your expected value is 10.00, but again, you are not going to get all the readings exactly at 10.00. So you are going to get something less, something more. So that's what we call as a variation. So this variation is inevitable in any process. Again, this is a very important point to note. Variation is inevitable. So whether it is a manufacturing process or a software process or a service related process or natural process, this variability is inevitable. For example, if you take the height of the human adults, so even though the average height of the male adults may be somewhere around 170 centimeters, exactly all the male adults are not going to have a height of 170 centimeters. So there may be a minimum of 140, a maximum of 220 centimeters. So the height may vary from 140 to 220 centimeters, and the average may be 170 centimeters. So that means the variability is inevitable. In any of our processes, whatever you follow, right? Whether it is a voltage, whether it is a vibration, whether it is a temperature, pressure, flow rate, any parameter, whatever we want to set in the any machine, always some variations will be there. So the variation in the output is caused by the variations in the inputs and process condition. So now, as I told you, we are grinding the 11 millimeter rod to a 10 millimeter rod, and whenever you are measuring the output, we are finding that there is a variation. So the output diameter is varying from maybe 9.8 to 10.2 millimeters. And again, if you see what are the possible reasons, maybe there may be some variation in the material characteristics, there may be some variation in the voltage, variation in the motor speed, and so on. So because of these variations in the inputs and process condition, there is a variations in the outputs. So sometimes what happens is maybe the variations in the inputs and process conditions is too large, so that we start producing defective parts. So for example, in this case, the customer is willing to accept 10 plus or minus 0.5 millimeters. So that means he is willing to accept from 9.5 to 10.5 millimeters. So initially, maybe your process was producing all the parts within the specification, but in between, suddenly the one of the bolts in the machine broke. So because of that, the vibration started increasing, and again, the output, whatever you are now getting, has got a lot of variation, and you are getting the output from 9 millimeter to 11 millimeters. So now the customer is willing to accept only from 9.5 to 10.5, whereas your process is producing from 9 to 11 millimeters. So that means your process is now producing defects which are not acceptable to the customers. So these defects are caused because of the too much variations in the process. So the Six Sigma methodology helps you to reduce the defects by reducing the variations in the outputs, by reducing the variations in the inputs and process condition. So again, it's a very important point. So please note it down. So the Six Sigma methodology helps you to reduce the defects. How do you reduce the defects? By reducing variations in the output. Variation in the output. So how do you reduce the variation in the output? By reducing variations in inputs and process conditions. So when a process is running at a six.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
Variation. Repeat me, please. Sorry.
Yeah. So for example, assume that in your, for example, now you are cutting the cloth for making the garments, right? So now you are doing it via machine. So now you want to cut to accuracy of maybe say plus minus 1 millimeter. But now suddenly there is a vibration, the machine started increasing. So because of which now the machine is giving a lot of variations in the output, right? So now we are getting the cloth length maybe to a variation of plus minus 2 millimeters, right?
Right.
Which is not acceptable to the customer. So that is what we call it as then we call that as a defective, right? So the defects are caused because of the variations in the output. Variations in the outputs are caused because of the variations in the inputs and process condition. And the Six Sigma methodology helps you to reduce the defects by reducing the variations in the inputs and process condition. So if your process is running at a Six Sigma level, then your defects, whatever you are going to produce, is only 3.4 defects per million opportunities.
Okay.
So that means, for example, now you are sending a lot of 1 million garments to your customer in a big container. So out of this 1 million garment, only 3 garment will be defects. So if you are making 1 million car engines, so out of this 1 million car engines, only 3 car engines are going to be defective engines. So such will be the, so two less defected if a process is having a Six Sigma process capability. Okay. So this is a typical output you get after doing a Six Sigma project. So this actually is an outcome of a project, a Six Sigma project, which was done to reduce the scrap. So before doing the project, the average rejection was around 21%, and there was a lot of variation. So the minimum scrap was around 15%, maximum was around 25%. So the rejection was varying from 15 to 25%, and the average was around 21%. But after doing the Six Sigma project, then we were able to identify the critical root causes for the problem, and we are able to take some corrective action so that there is a drastic reduction in the scrap. So from 21%, now we are getting around 8%. But what is very important is that the variability in the process also has come down. Now the rejection is varying between 6 to 10% and an average of around 8%. So once you do a Six Sigma project, not only there will be a drastic improvement in the metric, whatever you wanted to improve, you will also find that there will be a drastic reduction in the variability. Sometimes what may happen is maybe you are doing a Six Sigma project, so the metric, whatever you wanted to improve, there's a improvement is there. But if the variability is still not reduced, then I will say that you are not done the Six Sigma project in the right manner. If you do a Six Sigma project in the right manner, not only there will be a improvement in the metric, the variability in the process also will go down drastically. Okay. Now let us try to understand what are the different types of variations. So in our regularly in our commonly in our processes, we always have two types of variation, two types of causes which are creating the variation. The first one is the common cause variation, and second one is the special cause variation. So I will explain this concept by giving an example. So assume that you are every day you are commuting from your home to office, which is around 30 kilometers apart. From your home to office, which are 30 kilometers apart. So on an average, it takes around 60 minutes, 1 hour for you to commute the distance. But it is not that every day you are going to cover the distance exactly in 60 minutes. So you may find that it is varying from 30 minutes to
Sir, hi
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Sir, actually we are following the PPTs which you sent
Yeah.
by mail, but something different, sir.
No, only the first slide was different, but the others are same. I think this slide may be a hidden slide, I think. We can just go there and unhide the slide only there, but other slides will follow. Same. If you face any difference, then you can just tell me.
Okay, sir. This is changed from the slides which you sent through mail. Till last slide, okay, sir.
Yeah,
The
only
graph
this
you
slide.
explained.
I think if you go and I think it's hidden there. So maybe that's why you are not seeing it. But from next slide onwards, it will be okay. If you say, for example, next slide, are you seeing this?
Yes, sir. This is coming.
Yeah. So all this will be okay, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Only that slide was maybe a hidden slide, so that's why you are not seeing it. It is there in the deck. Okay. So now I will try to explain what is a common cause and special cause variation by taking an example. So assume that you are every day you are commuting from home to office, which is around 30 kilometers apart. Even though on an average you take around 60 minutes for you to cover the distance, again every day you are not going to take exactly 60 minutes. So there will be a variation. Maybe whenever you are traveling in the early morning or the very late in the night, maybe you may cover it at a very low time of around 30 minutes. But maybe whenever you are covering the distance during the peak hours, maybe around when the office time, whenever you go or return from the office, maybe you may take a very long time. It may take around 90 minutes. So even though the average time taken was around 60 minutes, but you will find that there is a variation from 30 minutes to 90 minutes. So whenever you try to find out what are the reasons, what are the causes which are contributing to this variation in the time taken, you will find that there are some reasons which are always present in the process. Again, note it down, these which are always present in the process. For example, the number of traffic signals on the way, the road conditions, the weather conditions, the waiting time at the each signal. So these are all always present in the process, and this will create a variation in the output. For example, if during the early morning, maybe the waiting time at the traffic is very less, so that means on that particular day you will cover the distance very quickly. But maybe on some other day, whenever you are traveling during the peak hours, then again the time taken will be more, right? So this waiting time at the traffic signal is always present in the process, and we call that as a common cause variation. So similarly, in our day-to-day processes, some of the examples of these common cause variations are the vibrations in the machines. So vibrations in the machines always will be there. You can only reduce the vibration. You cannot totally eliminate the vibration in the process. Then the voltage fluctuations. Then the skill levels of the people. Then batch variation material. So these are all some of the causes which are always present in the process, and this will create variation. We call this as a common cause variation, right? The other type of cause is the special cause variation. So the special cause variations are rarely present in the process. For example, whenever you are traveling from your home to office, maybe on a particular day, you find that there was a major accident on the way, and because of that, the traffic was blocked for almost 2 hours, and on that day, you took around 4 hours for completing the entire distance. On some other day, maybe there was a political procession, and the traffic was diverted through some other route, and on that day, it took around 3 hours for you to cover the distance. So on some other day, there were very heavy rains were there, and you had to take shelter on the midway around, and on that day, it took around 5 hours for you to complete the journey, right? So these type of causes, which are rarely present in the process, even though whenever during those days or during that time, whenever these causes are happening, maybe the impact is very high, but these are all not happening on a day-to-day basis. These are all happening very rarely. Then we call this a special cause variation, or we also call this as a assignable cause variation. So that means we'll be, whenever there is a problem, we'll be able to immediately assign that this is the reason for the problem, and then we call this as a special cause or assignable cause. So in our normal processes, some of the examples of the special causes are the power failure, the low voltage drop, sudden voltage drop, the unskilled people doing work, the machine breakdown. So these are all some of the examples of special causes. So these causes are not always present in the process. They happen very rarely. Even though on those days, whenever these causes are happening, we have major impact. But overall, majority of the problems are happening because of the common causes, which are always present in the process. And yeah, any doubt?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I have a question here.
yeah.
So my question is the common cause and the special cause. On the common cause, we have skill level of people and we have unskilled people. Can you break down, for me, I don't see the difference between the skill level of the people and also the unskilled people. Because
Yeah.
it still
Okay.
boils down.
Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, skill levels of the people. So whenever you are, for example, on a particular day, you know that you come to the factory and there are maybe around 100 people are working in the factory, and in a particular process, maybe around 20 people are there. And again, you know that some of the people are only 2 years old in the organization, some are having 20 years experience, right? And then, so because of this variation in the skill level, there may be a variation in the output. There may be a variation in the productivity or variation in the yield. But maybe, so we call this a common cause variation because this is always there. When 20 people are working, you cannot expect all the 20 people will give you the same productivity level with the same quality level, right? So that variation will always be there. We call that as a common cause variation. Maybe on some other day, you are finding that there was a major problem was there in the product quality, and then you wanted to analyze what was the problem. And then when you really analyze the problem, you find that there was an unskilled person who was operating the machine, who normally does not operate the machine. So only because of that, there was a problem, right? Then we call this a special cause. When you know that a particular person, because of his unskilled nature of the work, because of that we got a problem, we are able to analyze that reason, we call this a special cause. Okay. Hello.
Okay, from you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the every time in your processes, you will always find the common causes and special causes, and the Six Sigma methodology helps you to reduce the defects by reducing the variation due to the common causes. As I was telling you, the impact of common causes are going to be very high, and if you are able to take action to reduce the variation due to the common causes, then you can reduce your defects substantially, and the Six Sigma methodology will help you to reduce the defect due to the common causes. Again, I will just explain the common causes and special causes by the example on the right picture here. You can see that the customer is getting the defective X, which are marked in red color. So he wanted to analyze what is the problem. So he just track it to the individual trace. So he finds that all the 3 trays are having defective X, all the 3 chutes are having defective X, and all the 3 hens are laying the defective eggs. So he is unable to find exactly what is the problem, right? But if you see the picture below, again the customer is getting some defective eggs. Again he tracks to the trace. The middle trays are always having the defective eggs. The middle chute is always having the defective egg, and then you will be able to analyze that the middle hen is laying the defective eggs. So if you change the middle hen, then your problem can be solved. So that's what we call as a special cause, right? So special cause means you will always be able to assign that this is the cause for the problem, so that you will be able to immediately solve the problem. Whereas common causes, there are so many reasons are there, so we are unable to pinpoint exactly what is the root cause of the problem. Then we call that as a common cause. And Six Sigma methodology helps you to reduce the variation due to the common causes. Okay. Now let us try to understand what is Six Sigma. So Six Sigma is a data-driven, structured statistical methodology to achieve the defense per million opportunity of 3.4. So Six Sigma is a data-driven approach. So that means whenever you do a Six Sigma project, then you need to collect a lot of accurate data from the process, and then you will have to analyze the data by using the statistical tools. So using the statistical tool for analyzing the problem is the unique feature of the Six Sigma methodology. So none of the other process improvement methodologies, they have this approach of using the statistical tools. So this is the unique characteristics of Six Sigma, to use the advanced and sophisticated statistical tools for problem solving. And again, it is a structured approach. So again, when you say why it is a structured approach, then we follow a structured methodology called as a DMAIC methodology. So whenever you do a Six Sigma project, you follow a structured methodology for problem solving, DMAIC. That is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So any Six Sigma project has to necessarily undergo these 5 phases. So each phase will take roughly around 1 month for completion. So that is the reason if you want to solve a problem through the Six Sigma methodology, it may take around 5 to 7 months for you to complete the project. So if your managing director comes and tells you that the yield in the process has now drastically reduced from 95% to 80%, and he wants to take up a Six Sigma project to improve the yield from 80 to 95%, and he wants to complete it in 1 month, then Six Sigma is not the right methodology, right? Because we cannot get a very quick fix solution using the Six Sigma methodology. So you'll have to collect a lot of data from, you'll have to define exactly what is the problem. Then you'll have to collect a lot of data. Then you'll have to analyze the data with the statistical tool. Then you'll have to make some improvements. And then you'll have to put in some control mechanism in place so that you'll be able to sustain the improvements. So all those methodical steps will take a time, and then normally it takes around 5 to 7 months for you to complete the project. So it is a data-driven and structured statistical methodology for problem solving. So as I told you, when a process is running at a Six Sigma level, then you will be producing only 3 defects per million opportunities. If you are making some 1 million automobile components, then you are going to have only 3 defective automobile components. If you are going to make some 1 million garment pieces, then only 3 pieces are going to be defective. So such low defect is the rate whenever you follow the Six Sigma methodology. So this methodology was first implemented in Motorola. So Motorola was actually a US-based company, and the efforts for implementing, coming out of the methodology started in the year 1985, when Bob Gavin, the CEO of the Motorola, he called all his senior management people and told them that the quality of the products and services at Motorola has gone so bad that it has started stinking, and we need to do something about that. Then he put 2 of his best quality people, Bill Smith and Michael Harry. These were the 2 of the best quality people he had. He just put these 2 people in order to work upon a target of improving the quality 10 times. So he wanted them to come out with a methodology so that their quality can be 10x improvement, 10 times improvement in quality in 2 years. That was a target given to them. So they will have to come out with a methodology so that the quality in Motorola can improve 10 times within 2 years. So these 2 people worked for 2 years from 1985 to 1987, and they came out with the Six Sigma methodology, and it was first rolled out in Motorola in the year 1987. So after seeing the success of this methodology in Motorola, then the other manufacturing companies like the Allied Signals and General Electricals, GE, General Electricals, so they also implemented Six Sigma. So then, seeing the success in these 3 companies, the other manufacturing and software related companies, they also started implementing Six Sigma. So it is very important to know that no new inventions were made. So don't think that when Six Sigma was developed in 1987, then these people invented a lot of quality tools, or they invented a lot of new quality concepts. It was nothing like that. So it was only the consolidation of the existing tools and concepts. Say, for example, the control charts, which is one of the very important tool which is used in Six Sigma methodology. So this was in existence even from 1923, right? Almost more than 60 years at that time. So it was existing for more than 60 years. The other statistical tools like the design of experiments, hypothesis testing. So these were again existing for more than 70 or 80 years. The quality concept like PDCA, you would have heard about this, Plan, Do, Check, Act. So this was actually in existence from 1950s. So a lot of tools and concepts are already available. So these two people did a lot of research, and then they just out of all those tools and concepts, they picked which tools and concepts can be used, and then they nicely packed them in the DMAIC methodology, right, in this particular structure. So what are the tools and concepts that should be used for defining the problem? What are the tools and concepts while we are measuring the problems like that? So they just consolidated the existing tools and concepts, and then they came out with the Six Sigma methodology. So we can say that Six Sigma is a tools kit box for solving process problems. So again, I will just explain this concept by giving an example. So assume that whenever you have a problem in electrical problem in your house, you always tend to call an electrician. So maybe one day in your house, your fan was not running. So immediately you rang up that particular electrician and told him that your fan is not running. So when the electrician comes, does he come empty-handed? No, he comes with a kit box. So the kit box is having a lot of tools for analyzing the problem. And again, in the same kit box, he is again having a lot of tools for solving the problem. So when he comes to your house and you tell him that there is a problem that the fan is not running, then he immediately picks up the tester from his tools box, then goes to the fan switchboard, and then sees whether the electricity is coming to the switchboard by using the tester. If the electricity is coming to the tester, if the electricity is coming to the fan switch, but the fan is not running, then there is a problem between the fan switch and the fan, and then he will again do further analysis that area. If the electricity is not at all coming to the fan switch, then the problem is somewhere between the main power panel and the fan switch, and then he will again analyze more in that area. So by using the tools in the tools box, he is able to analyze the problem, and again in the tools box he is having some other tools for solving the problem. So like how an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter is having a tools box for analyzing and solving the problem. So similarly, as a process expert, whenever you take this Six Sigma training, you are going to be exposed to a lot of tools and techniques, right? More than 50 to 100 tools you are going to learn during this course of the training. And whenever you are having the process problem, then with the help of these tools, you will be able to analyze the problem. And again, some of the tools you can also use for solving the problem. So Six Sigma is nothing but a tools kit box for solving process problems. So any Six Sigma project, there are two major driving forces are there: the customer satisfaction and financial benefits. So any Six Sigma project will start for solving a process problem, a customer related problem, in order to improve the customer satisfaction. And whenever you do a Six Sigma project, then we expect to have a huge financial benefit. So these two are the main driving forces for the Six Sigma methodology. Okay. Now let us quickly go through the defense level whenever our process is running at a various process capabilities. So as I told you, when a process is running at a Six Sigma level, then you are going to get only 3 defense per billion opportunities. But your process, if it is running at 3 Sigma level, then it is going to be 67,000 defense per billion opportunity. That will be roughly around 6.7%. And if your process is running at 4 Sigma level, maybe your defect rate is 6,200 ppm, that is around 0.62%. So whether you are making some car engines or whether you are making some flour mill or maize flour or whatever it is, then you will be always be operating between this defect rate 0.6 to 6.7%. So that is why we call this 3 Sigma to 4 Sigma level. So we call that as a industry average. So globally, most of the companies will be operating under this defect level. So whenever the companies are operating between 3 and 4 Sigma level, then this is what is the expected losses because of the defects, right? This is only a thumb rule. This is not an accurate measurement. This is only a thumb rule based upon the lot of data collected. So that means the process is running at a 3 Sigma level, then 20 to 30%, That means 25% you will be losing because of the defect. And if you are running at a 4 sigma level, you may lose around 17%. So roughly around 20 to 25% you will be losing if your process is running from 3 to 4 sigma level. But if you are going to improve the process capability, then your defects will be drastically reduced to only 3 defects per million opportunities, and the total losses will be less than 5%, right? Average will be less than 5%. So then 15 to 20% of improvement in profitability you will be able to get by improving the process from 3 sigma to 6 sigma level. And that is the reason why most of the companies, they go for implementing 6 sigma, because they will be able to get a huge financial benefit. So we can call this as a world-class manufacturing, right? Okay. Now let us try to compare the performance. We have many companies, we always feel that we are doing a good job, right? And suppose if I come and ask you, like now you are making a lot of your product a maize flour, or you are making some car engine. So what is your defect rate? Then you may be proudly saying that our defect rate or our rejection is only 1%. So that means we are making 99% good products. Only 1% is scrapped. And then if I then ask you, is it possible for you to reduce the scrap from 1% to 0.6%? If I ask you, is it possible for you to reduce the defect from 1% to 0.6%? Then you may think and say that already you are doing a very good job. So reducing the defects from 1% to 0.6% is almost not possible, right? But if somebody else comes and tells you that currently your defect rate is 10,000 parts per billion, 10,000 defects per billion, and can you reduce it to 6,000? Then immediately you may just think and say that, okay, 10,000 is a very big number. So from 10,000 to 6,000, maybe I can try. I will just try whether I can reduce the defects from 10,000 to 6,000 defects per million. Even though literally both are same, right? 1% to 0.6% is the same as reducing the defects from 10,000 defects per million to 6,000 defects per million. So that means if you want to embrace the Six Sigma methodology, then you have to come out of the percentage mentality and then try to start measuring your defect in terms of defects per million, right? So that you get a bigger number. And once you get a bigger number, then your mind opens up and says that improvement is possible. If you are going to measure it only as a percentage, then the defects you are going to get a very small number, and then your mind will close and then say that any improvement is not possible. So if you want to embrace the Six Sigma methodology, start measuring your defects in terms of defects per million, not in percentage. Now, if you compare 99% good process, which is roughly equal to 3.8 sigma. So if you see here, the 3 sigma, the defect rate is 6.7%, whereas for your 4 sigma, it is 0.62%. So the 1% defective rate is somewhere between 3 and 4. So that is around 3.8. So 3.8 sigma is equivalent to 1% defect rate. Okay, 3.8 sigma. Yes?
Yes. Actually, in the levels which you are showing, I have a doubt, like this Six Sigma is itself representing a mathematical form, or like where this 3.4 DPM comes from, like from the various levels.
Okay. So again, in some of the training institutes, they normally put that as a first or second slide, but we'll be learning about that in the third or fourth session whenever we are learning about some of the statistical concept like normal distribution. I think you would have heard about this, right? Normal distribution or a bell curve. Have you heard about that?
No.
Yeah. So we'll be learning about that particular concept. So at that point of time, I will just explain you how these 3.4 defects are coming. So we call it the normal distribution or bell curve. So for that, we need to understand a bit of statistics. So I will explain you when I will explain that particular concept. Okay.
Okay, noted.
So for the
Thank you.
time being, just remember that 6 sigma is equal to 3.4 defects per billion opportunities, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So if your process is running at 1% defect, that is at the 3.8 sigma, then 20,000 lost mails per hour. So that means across the globe, if wherever if you are the letter delivery, somebody is the post delivery process, then if that post delivery process is running at a 3 sigma 99% level, that means every hour 20,000 mails are going to be lost. But if your process is going to be a 6 sigma process, then your defect is going to be only 7 letters are going to not be the final destination. So that means your defect level is going to be 3,000 times lower. 3,000 times lower if your process is running in a 6 sigma level when compared to a 3.8 sigma level, right? So that is why if your defect rate is going to be reduced so much, then accordingly so much of cost will be saved, and because of it, a lot of benefits will be there for the company, right? So that is why most of the companies will, because once you reduce the number of defects, then the cost you are spending on doing the inward inspection or in-process inspection or final inspection, all those or any rework, whatever you are doing, so all those will substantially reduce, and then you will get a lot of benefit. So that is the reason why most of the companies would like to go for 6 sigma. Okay. Now in the just before some time, I was explaining you that in the 6 sigma uses a structured approach called as a DMAIC methodology for solving the problem. So now let us try to understand what are the different activities we do in each and every one of the phase. So this DMAIC methodology is used for improving the existing process and existing product. For example, assume that now you are doing a process for more than 1 year, right? For example, now you are making this maize flour, and this company was came into existence maybe 5 years back, and for the last 3 years you are using the same process for making this maize flour. So that means it is the process is already existing, and this product is a existing product for you. And then whenever you are making this maize flour day in and day out, you are finding that maybe your rejection rate is varying. Maybe on a particular month, your rejection is only say 0.4%, but in some months it goes as high as maybe 4%, right? So there is a lot of variation between in this graph from 0.4 to 4%. And since the production volume is a huge volume, even 1% increase in rejection is going to have a lot of finance value. So whenever you are having a process which is existing for more than 1 year, and this product is also existing for more a year, and you find that variation is the problem, then you can use the DMAIC methodology for solving that particular problem. So let us now try to understand what are the different activities we do in each and every phase of the DMAIC methodology. So first we'll start with the define phase. So in define phase, what is happening? So in define phase, first thing what we do is to listen to the voice of customer. So that means you try to talk to the customer, or you try to make analysis about what are the different customer complaints, what are you are making, or you try to talk to your salespeople, try to analyze what are the problems the customer is facing. So whether the customer is facing problem because of the quality of your product, or because of the on-time delivery, or because of the services whatever you are giving, or because of the price, right? So the customer can have problem related to the quality or service or price or on-time delivery, right? So try to talk to the customer directly, or talk to the departments who are interacting with the customer, and try to listen to their voice of customer, and then understand their pain points. Understand the pain points. So what is causing more pain to the customer? For example, whenever you are talking to the customer, then he may say that everything is okay, but for the last 3 months, I am finding that your delivery is a bit of a problem for us. Maybe your delivery is not a reliable delivery. Your delivery is not very reliable. So in that case, the voice of customer says that you are having some delivery issue, and we can say that the pain point, what the customer is facing, the problem is about related to delivery. So understand the pain point, and then link it to a measurable metric. So for example, now you know that the customer is facing the problem with the delivery. So how do you measure your delivery performance? So you are measuring the delivery performance by measuring the percentage on-time delivery. So that means maybe on a particular month, you are making 100 deliveries to the customer. So out of the 100 deliveries, 95 deliveries are made either on or before the due date from the customer. Then we can say that our percentage on-time delivery is 95 divided by 100, that is 95%. So we have agreed a percentage on-time delivery of 95% to the customer. But for the last 6 months, we are finding that our percentage on-time delivery is only 80%, right? Then there is a huge gap between the what we have agreed with the customer and our current performance, and then we can identify that as a potential Six Sigma project. So listen to the voice of customer, understand the pain point, link it to measurable metric, then quantify the current performance. Quantify the current performance, then define the scope of the project. So now you have talked to the customer, and then you have found from him that delivery is the issue, and you quantify the current performance. It is only 80%, whereas the agreed with the customer is 95%. There is a huge gap. So we will identify that as a potential Six Sigma project. But maybe currently we are supplying maybe around 10 different products to the customer. So now in order to have more focus, then it is better for us to specify a particular product, right? So instead of doing the project on all the 10 products, let us try to understand which product the percentage on-time delivery is very low. Then we may find that product A is the delivery performance is only 60%, which is again contributing to the steep decrease in the on-time delivery. So like that, we'll have to define the scope of the project so that we can narrow down the focus of the project. So once you have defined the scope of the project, then you put up a team, create a team, project team, appoint a project leader, and then estimate the benefits. What are the benefits you are going to get by doing the project, right? And then you document all this in a document called as a project charter. So we are going to learn about this in depth in the later date, right? So in the define phase, we first start with listening to the voice of customer. What is actually causing more pain to the customer? Link it to a measurable metric, quantify the current performance, then fix up the target, what target you want to achieve, then define the scope of the project, then you just appoint the team and the team leader, estimate the benefits, estimate the schedule for the project, and then document all this in a document called as a project charter. So this is what we do in the define phase. Then in the measure phase, you collect a lot of data from the process. We just make a data collection plan. What are the data you are going to collect? How you are going to collect? When you are going to collect? How much data you are going to collect? So all those details, you make a detailed data collection plan. Then even before collecting the data, you have to do a measurement system analysis. So measurement system analysis is a statistical tool which will tell you whether your measurement is capable of your measurement method and measurement tools, whether they are capable of giving accurate data. Because I told you that the you will have to collect a lot of accurate data from the process for doing the Six Sigma project. So if your data collection method itself is wrong, or your instruments are not capable of measuring accurate data, then your data will not be accurate and you will not be able to make a final analysis. So you'll have to do a measurement system analysis to check whether your measurement system is capable of giving the accurate data. So for that, we do the measurement system analysis. Then we also do a process capability analysis. So from the data, whatever you have collected during the measure phase, you will have to calculate what is the sigma level. So maybe before improvement, we are achieving a process capability of maybe around 3.2 sigma, and we want to target maybe achieving a 4.2 sigma, right? So we do a process capability analysis during the measure phase before we make the improvement, and then after making the improvement, again we measure the process capability, and then we just compare whether there is a improvement in the process capability. Then we can establish that really we have made an improvement. So these are the major activities we do in the measure phase. Then during the analyze phase, we start analyzing what are the root causes for the problem. So we start with the fishbone diagram. I think some of you would have already heard about this fishbone diagram. So it is just like trying to find out the entire list of all the potential root causes for the problem. So you may, whenever you do a brainstorming session, maybe you may get around 60 to 70 potential root causes for the problem. So these 50 to 60 potential root causes, you again narrow down and prioritize the root causes till at the end of the analysis phase, by using the quality tools and statistical tools, you'll be able to list down some 3 or 4 critical root causes. So at the end of the analysis phase, you are going to come out with a list of 3 to 4 statistically validated critical root causes for the problem. So that means you have found that in the define phase, you have found that the percentage on time delivery is a problem. So during the analysis phase, you start with the fishbone diagram, do a brainstorming session. What are the possible reasons for the lower percentage on time delivery? So you may end up getting 50 to 70 root causes. So these 50 to 70 root causes, you prioritize using some various quality and statistical tools. So at the end of analysis phase, you will be able to finalize 3 or 4 critical root causes, which are validated by using the statistical tools. So during the improve phase, you are going to take action only on those 3 or 4 critical root causes. No need for you to take action on all the 60 or 70 potential root causes, because these 3 or 4 critical root causes are contributing to 80 to 90% of the total problems. And if you are able to take action on those 3 or 4 critical root causes, 80 to 90% of the problem will be solved, right? So in the improve phase, take action on critical root causes. Then you just run pilots. You cannot implement the improvements in the full scale. So first you run the pilot, then you estimate the savings and the improvement. Estimate the savings and improvements, and do a risk analysis. So because you have to do a risk analysis, because say for example, you are finding that you are having a chemical process and you are now taking a project to improve the yield from 80 to 95%. So during the analysis phase, you have found that the temperature, pressure, and vacuum, these are the critical root causes which are creating more problems in the yield. And then during the improve phase, you are able to say that you are able to find the solution that if the current temperature is increased from 100 degrees centigrade to 300 degrees centigrade, then your yield will be improved from 80 to 95%. But before implementing the change, you will have to again do a risk analysis, because right now whatever the change in the whatever the changes we are recommending is you are seeing only from the yield point of view, from the rejection point of view. But if you increase the temperature from 100 degree to 300 degree centigrade, maybe the life of the furnace may come down, or it may lead to some safety issues, or the cost may drastically go up because of the increase in temperature. So many other negative impacts will be possible. So even before implementing the recommended changes, you will have to do a risk analysis. So what are the negative impacts this particular solution may have on some other metrics, so that you can think about some proactive solution, and then you can implement those proactive solutions so that these recommended changes can be implemented without any major problem. So for that, you will have to do a risk analysis. And then finally, you will have to make a plan for full scale implementation. So at the end of the improve phase, it is not necessary that you should have made the improvements fully, but at least you should have tested it under the pilot scale, and then did a risk analysis and ensure that if any negative impact is there on any other metric, proper action has been taken, so that you will have to make a plan for full scale implementation. Then during the control phase, you will have to put in some control mechanism in place so that you will be able to sustain the improvement. So many times in our own processes, it is not that we are not making any improvement. We definitely on a day-to-day basis, we are making a lot of improvement. But what is happening is, since we are not analyzing the root cause of the problem, we take some solution, implement it, then maybe after 3 or 6 months, we find that again the same problem is coming, right? So in order to avoid that, in the Six Sigma project, you'll have to put some control mechanism in place. Maybe you'll have to put some lean controls like Poka Yoke, or we'll have to control the critical mechanism, critical inputs by the control charts and so on. So you'll have to put in some control mechanism in place, like lean controls, control charts, control plan, so that we'll be able to main purpose of implementing all those is to mainly for sustaining the improvements, to sustain improvement. Then we'll have to make a closing report. So the closing report is also a very precise document, like a project charter we have made in the define phase in order to explain what we want to really solve. The closing report will tell you like what actually metric we wanted to improve, what are the current performance, what is the target performance you wanted, and then what is the current what is the data you collected, then what are the critical root causes you are able to finalize, what are the improvement actions you have taken, what is the control mechanism you have put in place, and what are the expected savings that you can explain, right? Expect. All those has to be documented, yeah, one-page document called as a closing report. And then you can just close the report formally, and then you can just monitor whether you are able to get you will have to monitor the cost saving for almost 1 year. So after 1 year, if you are able to sustain the improvement, then automatically your process can go on without any problems. So this DMAIC methodology is used for improving the existing process and existing products. Okay. Any doubt or any clarification on this DMAIC methodology? So normally, whenever you take up a Six Sigma project, we always look for data for one year, right? For example, if you want to improve the yield in a chemical process, then I will be asking, like, do you have the data on the yield for the last 1 year, last 12 months data? So once you give the yield data for the last 1 year, then we will just say what is the average. So maybe the average yield maybe say 82%. Average yield is 82%. Maybe the lowest is 75%, and the highest is 94%. So that means the process is existing for more than 1 year, and the performance is poor, and we are finding that variability in the process is an issue. Then there is the ideal problem that can be taken up to be solved through the Six Sigma methodology. Yes.
Yeah. When we decide that a particular project is a Six Sigma project, right? I mean, I just want to understand. In my company, let's say I have different projects, improvement projects. Now, how do we justify that this project can be a Six Sigma project? First of all, as you said, we have to do the analysis of the causes, right?
No,
Common-
first we don't go through the causes. That's why we first follow this methodology: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So for fixing up what is the project you can take, then you will have to, this define phase is very important, right? So at that
Okay.
point of time, you are not looking for the causes. So you're not trying to, because in your company, maybe you are already measuring a lot of metrics, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, maybe what are the different metrics you measure on a regular basis?
Like for an example, we run through our entire quality system, like raw material system quality, in process quality, FG quality, different metrics is like as you said, the delivery, on time delivery. So all these things we do, but the thing is that yes, I also feel that there are some improvement to be done. Customers are not happy on timely delivery. Customers are not happy with the quality. We get quality complaints also from the customers. But what I want to understand is, how do we know that a project we can become a Six Sigma project? That's what I want to understand.
No, that is why again, when we are discussing about this case study, so we'll be learning about that. So I will just give you a typical, maybe by end of today, I will just give you that document. So again, this is similar to what you are telling, because any company, problem related to productivity will be there, problem related to yield will be there, problem related to customer complaints will be there. So how to identify the problem, right? So you just try to find out what is the root cause. Out of this, maybe why the on-time delivery is lower. Maybe your process is not stable, right? Why the process is not stable? Maybe your in-process
Like
controls are lesser.
for an example, one particular case I can share with you.
Yeah.
So what happened is we have changed the contractor, the
Okay.
loading team, the loading contractors we have changed. And after that, we find that whatever truck we give them, they are loading it slowly because of the skill set, because the people are not able to load the way the other team is supposed to load. So then we found out, yes, this is one of the things. So we have trained them, we have understood the problem with the skill set, and now it is sorted. But we didn't do any Six Sigma project. It was just an improvement plan. I mean, we understood the issue and we sorted it out.
Okay.
So like that, I want to understand which problem can we go ahead and make it a Six Sigma. That's what.
Okay. Okay. Then I will just, again, I think you're a very relevant question. So whenever you are finding some improvement opportunities, there are different ways of looking at it. The first one is what we call as a just do it.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So whenever you know the root causes, and whenever the root causes are known and the solutions are known, right? So just go and implement the solution. No need for you to take that as a Six Sigma project, right?
Okay.
For example, again, maybe in some cases, maybe some of the solutions are obvious, right? So why the machine is breaking down very frequently? Maybe the bearing is failing very frequently. Why the bearing is frequently failing? Maybe the shaft
Alignment
is
wrong.
alignment is a problem.
Alignment
You
is
just
wrong.
fix the alignment, then the problem is going to be solved, right? So no need for you to just do it. No need for you to do anything. Then we are going to learn about some of the lean. The lean mainly you will use it a lean, or you can say that is one of the tool is a important tool is a Kaizen. So whenever you are wanting to make any small improvements, like for example, now the problem whatever you're told, maybe initially you did not know what was the problem, but again when you made some analysis, you are able to find that the skill levels of the people was a problem, and then you are able to take immediately. So no need for you to collect any extensive data, or don't have to go using the statistical tools. Then you can call this a Kaizen. So whenever you are making, if you want to make any small improvement, then you can take that as a Kaizen project.
Okay. Okay.
Then sometimes you may take some like technical projects, right?
Yeah.
So whenever you are going for some technical solution, then you'll have to go for technical projects, right? So again, no need for you to take the as a Six Sigma project. So the Six Sigma, normally whenever the root causes are not known.
Okay. Okay.
Root causes not known. And since you do not know the root causes, you do not know the solutions not known.
Okay.
So only those complex issues, you can take that as a Six Sigma project, right?
Yeah, I got it now. Thank you.
Yeah. For example, you find that maybe initially you are not finding that maybe whatever the delivery time you are making on time delivery to your end customers. So you are supposed to maintain 95%, but you are making only 90%, right? Then you are finding what is the problem. So maybe there may be an issue that you are input, whatever you're getting, there's a delay in that, or maybe different contractors are there. So because of that, maybe a problem,
Yeah,
or there is a problem. And so many different reasons are there, and you are unable to know exactly what is the root cause of the problem. And since you do not know the root cause of the problem, you do not know the solution for the problem, then you can take that as a typical Six Sigma project.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So in that case, you can use the Six Sigma.
Okay. Okay.
So that is why when when Motorola they started implementing, so the target they kept for the project was like any greenfield project should result in $50,000 as an annual cost saving. Any project which is going to yield an annual cost saving of $50,000 can be classified as a greenfield project, and any blackfield project should result in $200,000, right? So now we can just know what is the magnitude of the problem you are trying to solve using the Six Sigma method, right? So for simple problems, no need for you to take the rest of Six Sigma project. Okay. Okay, now we have seen that the DMAIC methodology is used for improving the existing product and existing process. But sometimes what we find is maybe you are now inheriting a new process, or you are now inheriting a new product, right? So whenever you are trying to make a new product or a new process, maybe initially, maybe for a period of 3 to 6 months, then there may be a lot of teething problem may be there. So again, in that case, again, it is not advisable to take those projects as a Six Sigma project. That is a DMAIC project. So in that case, whenever you want to improve the process, any new products or any new process, then you have to go for DFSS. That is design for Six Sigma. So in the design for Six Sigma, the cycle, whatever you are going to have is DMADV. So instead of DMAIC, it is DMADV. So define, measure, analysis is remaining the same. Instead of improve, we have the design, and instead of control, we have the verify. So DMADV approach is used for improving new products or new process. So again, I will explain this by giving an example. So assume that you are working for a automobile manufacturing company, like maybe Maruti. So you have now developed a new model of your car, and your marketing team had projected that the new model of the car will have 50% market share in 1 year. So that was the projections given by your marketing department. But now you are finding that almost more than 9 months have passed. But again, you are finding that your current market share is only 15%, whereas one of your competitor is having 50% market share. So again, your marketing team conducted a survey with all the customers to find out what is the problem. So when they conducted the survey, they found out that the customers are giving priority to your competitor's model, mainly because of the fuel efficiency. So whereas your company, your model of the car is giving only 12 kilometers per liter of petrol, that is the fuel efficiency. Whereas your competitor's model, it is giving 18 kilometers per liter. So that is the reason why the customers are preferring the competitor model. Then your company wanted to take that as a Six Sigma project. So here in the define phase, what you do, define the design goals that are consistent with customer demand and the enterprise strategy. So in this case, the enterprise strategy is to get 50% market share, right? 50% market share. That is the enterprise strategy. And in order to meet this 50% market share, you have to meet a customer demand of 18 kilometers per liter of petrol. So this fuel efficiency is the customer demand, whereas your current performance is only 12. So now you'll have to change the design of your car engine so that the fuel efficiency is improved from 12 kilometers to 18 kilometers. So in the define phase, you are just trying to analyze what is the company strategy you want to achieve. In order to achieve the company strategy, what the customer demands you have to meet, and in order to meet the customer demand where you are currently staying, what is the gap you have to bridge. So that bridging of the gap can be taken up as a design goal during the define phase. Then during the measure phase, measure and identify the critical to CTQs. That means what are the very critical components which are contributing to the fuel efficiency. So if we make an analysis, what are the possible reasons? What are the possible factors which are contributing to the fuel efficiency? So maybe the carburetor, material of carburetor. I'm just giving something. So material of carburetor, then the air fuel ratio, then the tire type, tire pressure, the overall load. So these are all some of the factors which are contributing to the fuel efficiency. So even though the car is having more than 1,000 or 2,000 different components, all the 2,000 or 10,000 or 2,000 components, they are not actually contributing to the fuel efficiency. So during the measure phase, you try to identify which are the critical factors which are contributing to the fuel efficiency, right? Then during the analyze phase, you try to develop and design the alternatives. So maybe currently the carburetor is made of aluminum. So can you change it to some other material? Currently the air fuel ratio is 5:1. So can it be made to 7:1, or can it be changed to 4:1, right? Air fuel ratio. Tire type. So currently we are having a tire with the tubes. So can we try with a tire without a tube, tubeless tires? So whether we can go for a different tire types or the tire materials. Tire pressure. So currently we are keeping a tire pressure of 33. So can we increase it to 35 or reduce it to 31? So like that, you try to develop some alternate combinations of the different critical factors. So you just, based on that, you just develop the different alternatives. So during the design phase, you just theoretically, out of all those different alternatives, whatever you have created, try to theoretically find out which is the best one. And then you just out of all those, you just try to pick up the best alternative which is possible. Then during the verify stage, you just set up some, run some small pilot runs with whatever the recommended factors, whatever you are checking. You just make some pilot run. And then if the pilot runs are giving the desired results, then you just implement it in the full scale production. And then once it is fully implemented in production, you can hand over to the process model, right? So in this way, whenever you want to make the improvement for a new process or new product, then we call it a DFSS. So if you can really see in the DMAIC methodology, the problem is mainly because of the variation in the process. And the solution or the improvement is coming because of reducing variation, right? So improvement is coming in the DMAIC methodology by reducing variation in the process. Whereas in the DFSS or the design for Six Sigma, the improvements comes by changing the design of the process or the product. So you can see the major difference, right? In the DMAIC methodology, the improvements come through analyzing what are the problems, factors which are creating the variation in the process, and then taking action on that to reduce the variation. Whereas in the DFSS, the improvements comes by changing the design of the product or process so that the improvement is possible. Okay. Now let us learn about a bit about the history of Six Sigma. So as I told you, the real efforts started in the year 1985 when Bob Gavin, he appointed Bill Smith and Michael Harry to come out with a methodology to improve the quality times within 2 years. And then these two people worked out for 2 years. And then in 1987, they came out with the Six Sigma methodology and it was launched in Motorola. Then see the success of this methodology in Motorola. Then Allied Signals, they implemented in 1993, and it was implemented in General Electric under Jack Welch. So he was the CEO of the General Electric when it was implemented in the year 95, sorry. So starting from the year 2000, you can see that some of the other service-related companies like Bank of America, American Express, HSBC. So those type of service related companies, they also started implementing Six Sigma. Even in our own Infosys, they started implementing Six Sigma starting from the year 2000. So again, in the year 2000, one more interesting development happened. So one of the other parallel process improvement methodology, Lean, which was very popular in Japan. So this Lean methodology was popular in Japan starting from the early 1950s. So all of you are aware that the Second World War was fought between 1939 and 1945. And in 1945, the Second World War ended when United States of America, they dropped 2 atom bombs, the nuclear bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan. And because of the war, the economy was totally devastated in Japan. And after the World War, then they started working hard to revive the economy. And the USA, they also started helping the Japanese people. And the Japanese people, again, they started practicing this Lean for improving the efficiency of their processes. And Lean became popular in Japan starting from 1950s. So like how we have seen that Six Sigma methodology helps you to reduce the defects by reducing the variance in the process. The Lean will help you to identify and eliminate waste in the process. So Lean methodology will help you to identify and eliminate waste in the process. So thereby improving productivity. Whereas Six Sigma will help you to reduce variation and improve quality and yield. So a combination of yield and Lean and Six Sigma, then the process experts found that will help you to improve both productivity as well as the quality. And then this methodology was implemented as Lean Six Sigma starting from the year 2000. Lean Six Sigma. And currently, this methodology is popular as Lean Six Sigma, right? So where you will be exposed to both the concepts and tools related to both Lean and Six Sigma, right? Okay. Are there any questions or any doubts in whatever we have covered so far? Okay. So maybe this is a time for us to go for a break now. But before going for the break, I would like to get a feedback about how we are doing. So this again containing some 4 questions. So I'm just launching the poll. You can give the feedback. And after giving the feedback, you can just break for the dinner break. And we will meet exactly 30 minutes from then. Okay. So I'm launching the poll.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can just give the feedback. And then once you have completed the feedback, you can drop off and then we will meet exactly 30 minutes from now.
I want to submit, but maybe not happening.
So I don't know what is the problem. I
selected and I want to click submit.
I
don't know, it's not working, submit options.
Okay. So I don't know what is the issue.
Yeah.
Just now I submitted, so it's worked for me.
I think 3 people have already submitted.
I want to submit top one, number 1, but
No, you'll have to submit all the 4 questions, right?
okay.
You submit all the 4 questions and then at the end, I think you will have the button.
Okay.
Okay, those who have submitted, maybe you can just break and then we will meet exactly 30 minutes from now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's 9:45 your time, sir.
Yeah, 9:45. Yeah, we'll meet at 9:45 p.m. IST. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank
sir, rejoin,
Yeah.
sir.
Pardon?
Shall we rejoin with the same link? Or?
Yeah, same there. Yeah,
Okay.
9:45. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.